Hayley Mills's life has often been framed as charmed Disney royalty. Beloved child star, the girl whose smile seemed to brighten every frame she appeared in. But behind that poised exterior was a woman learning to navigate to very different worlds. For decades, she carried the weight of expectations, public innocence, private confusion, and a long struggle to define herself beyond the characters who made her famous. Her double life was not one of scandal or hidden misdeeds, but of a quiet, internal divide that she managed with a grace most people never realized she needed. For nearly 30 years, she moved between the life the world believed she lived and the one she was actually trying to build. As a teenager thrust into international fame, Mills quickly became synonymous with sweetness, wholesomeness, and perpetual good cheer. The success of films like Pollyanna and The Parent Trap ensured that. But while audiences saw a carefree girl, she was navigating the complexities of sudden stardom, the loss of privacy, the pressure to remain eternally youthful, and the creeping sense that the version of herself adored by millions didn't quite match the girl she felt like on the inside. That mismatch became the quiet beginning of the two Hayleys she would live as. The public Hayley was frozen in time, forever the bright ingenue. She was expected to be grateful, gentle, and exactly as Disney had shaped her. But privately, she was growing up, falling in love, questioning her path, and searching for a sense of self-determination. She longed for adult roles, for creative control, for the freedom to make mistakes without being judged against the impossible purity of her early characters. Yet every attempt to break out of her molded image seemed to be met with resistance from the industry and the public alike. She learned to smile through it, to say the right things, to maintain the appearance of a girl who had never been anything but delighted with her career. When Mills entered adulthood, the divide deepened. Professionally, she fought to transition into more mature roles. But Hollywood kept pulling her back toward the girl she no longer was. Privately, she was in a long-term relationship with film director Roy Bolting, a man 33 years her senior. The relationship, which began when she was only 18, was something she instinctively protected from public scrutiny. The world saw her as forever young, and that image felt incompatible with the complexities of an adult partnership. Her personal life was becoming rich, complicated, and sometimes difficult. Yet to the outside world, she remained the uncomplicated symbol of eternal adolescence. As the years passed, Mills's double life evolved again. She became a mother, but continued to play roles that asked her to embody youthfulness. She experienced heartbreak, career stalls, and financial turmoil, including the devastating loss of her childhood earnings due to mismanagement and tax issues. Still, she presented herself as steady and composed. She had been trained since childhood to push forward with a bright face, to give people the Hayley Mills they expected, rather than the one who was privately grappling with adulthood's very real challenges. Friends have said she carried this contradiction with almost uncanny calm, rarely letting her internal conflicts slip into the public sphere. What made those decades even more delicate was her reluctance to disappoint anyone. Mills has spoken about how deeply ingrained that impulse was, how she felt responsible for maintaining the happiness and nostalgia people projected onto her. The pressure to be two people at once, public sunshine and private human being, lasted well into middle age. It became second nature, a quiet balancing act she performed without fanfare only in recent years. As she has reflected more openly on her life and career, has she begun sharing the truth behind the carefully polished image? She has spoken honestly about the emotional cost of child stardom, the private battles she masked beneath professionalism, and the long journey toward reconciling the two versions of herself. It isn't that she lived a life of deception, but that she lived a life of duality, one she hadn't fully acknowledged even to herself until she was ready. Hayley Mills's double life wasn't a scandal waiting to be revealed. It was the very human story of a girl who grew up in front of the world while trying to understand who she really was. For 30 years, no one knew the quiet tug-of-war she carried inside her. Now, with the benefit of time, honesty, and reflection, She has finally been able to reveal that truth not as an expose, but as a testament to resilience, grace, and the courage it takes to finally step fully into one's own life.